Okay, working on food impulse control with both of them out at the same time now for the first time. The biggest thing I learned was that I needed to back tie Riley. Now, if I was worried at all about them reacting to each other before, I could calm them down, then you always back tie for safety. But I overestimated their ability to settle and wait their turn, and you're gonna see what I mean in a minute. So I see how I look away from her eating and then I say out. And look, Riley responds. Riley just wants to respond to the basic obedience command. So I just stay calm, no big deal, reset her and back tie her. That's kind of how Riley is. She likes to respond to every command. So I wasn't worried that anything would happen. Making sure Lucy, the one in the back, lays down. Now I'm walking around a little bit with the bowl to see if it triggers Riley getting up. It doesn't. Again, I always back up and look away a little bit. I angle my hips away from the food bowl so they don't feel any pressure until I want them to, potentially. Now having them both eat at the same time is the next step, and they'll both out at the same time. Now I only do this about 3 to 4 times per bowl. Otherwise, you can accidentally build too much drive. All right, so I tapped on that with Lucy because she got confused and then went back to the bowl. It doesn't matter if she's confused. You can't go back to the bowl after you've been outed. But I gave body language guidance to guide her back. I would have picked up the leash if needed.
Out.
And nice. Now these are slow feeder bowls. I just put the last few pieces on the ground for Lucy. Slow feeder bowls are great for dogs that really suck up their food really fast, especially so you can do this exercise 2 to 4 times. Now we switch it up. I want them to work around their food bowl. Now I am trying to just find where are the challenges with these dogs, where can they improve on. I'm just playing around. And so now we're actually doing obedience work around the food bowl. They should know that they can't go to it without permission. We have practiced this, but not with both of them out together. That completely changes the game. And it definitely changed both of their anxiety because they're now feeding off of each other. So they're more excited, anxious about the food.
Good. Heel.
So the goal is just to walk around the food bowl and make sure that they don't go for it without permission. So I'm basically proofing my heel. It's like when you're in heel, you're in command. You do not go for anything. And so until they do that a few times, they don't get released to the bowl. So basically they have to show control first, then they get to go to the bowl. Something I didn't practice here that I normally do is recalls past the food bowl. That's because I knew with 2 of them out, they couldn't do it. It's too much for them. I knew it would be too much for them. So instead, we just walk around it. Notice I back up, get out of the way. An e-collar tap, a pretty firm one, probably around a 5 for Riley. She works really low most of the time. Sent her right back to place.
Out. Good. Out.
Now, Lucy really struggled with that. So I wanted to point out that I had sweetened the pot with a few treats. So that already made it 10 times harder for her to out, to move away from the food bowl. There were no major corrections. I know they shake their heads a lot. They both do. They even did it when they were on slip leash. It's just 10 times more now. You can tell it wasn't a big e-collar correction because they go right back towards the food bowl like it's no problem. Now, just so you guys know, she understands, they both understand what out means really well. But the new element is that they're together. And I've done it with treats too when they're by themselves. But they're together. That is the big change here. And so for me personally, I don't go for just a big level to just demand it if I'm not seeing any aggression or anything like that. So those levels were actually low. They were lowest level possible to get the dog to disengage. I look at that kind of, that's a no. So you saw that right there. That was a no for Riley, e-collar tap. I look at, any new situation with a dog, even though it's a command that they understand, that they don't understand it in the same way. And so I look at it as more guidance-based, like they deserve a warm-up before I just demand it and punish for non-compliance. That's just my personal feelings on the matter. So now she's doing really good. She did get in trouble for just going for it. And so now we have to walk by it several times successfully for her to wait for permission to go to the bowl again because she is in heel. Notice I move away. I don't put pressure on them when they're eating. She's much more sensitive than Lucy. So I just had to encourage her to go back to it. Even the slow feeder bowl kind of makes Riley be like, maybe I'm not supposed to eat it. That was a really good, clean, crisp out right there. And even though we're done, these dogs need a chance to kind of rest a little bit. So I do a little bit more, just loose leash, let's go work, let them watch each other. And then they do at least an hour of duration hanging out. So I continue to work them without food just till they calm down even a little bit more. And then they just hang out together nice and calmly to fully settle them down before, we're officially done. Because this type of new scenario for them gets them a little anxious. So we're not just finished because the exercise is finished. If the exercise was challenging and they're anxious because of it, you have to work them through that too.